now that I'm like less enamored or amused by Jessie, and what again pieced it together for me is like, you know what she says here, you spent all our money.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm thinking about those $15,000 bottles of wine. And I can see there's a lot of, and I'm thinking, I pointed out in the recent episodes, the cars. He had this
Mm-hmm.
big Porsche. Now it's a big Beamer. It's all fronting.
Have you seen pictures of him from before the show? Like the way he used to look? Like this preppy mister is not who he was even 5 years ago. Like
Okay.
he's remade his image. He looks different. And this
Mhm.
isn't just like more of a maturity thing, like, oh, I'm now in my 40s and stuff like that. I mean, this is a different person here.
So it absolutely is contrived.
It is.
It's all
It
an
is.
affectation. That's what, yeah.
We gonna stir it up and do things our way. So if you wanna move, get out of our way.
Hey.
It's PCP Thursday, everybody coming from the valley.
Great one. Hey.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I still think, I don't know how many times I've mentioned this in the course of discussing this show. In the height of mid 2000s, like Robertson, Kitson, you remember the message tees and the trucker hats? Cameron Diaz wore a t-shirt that said, I don't date 818. And
Did she? Oh my gosh. Man.
And that's when I was at my trucker, hattiest, valleyest. Really broke my heart. I thought I was so cool.
I mean, I got personally offended on Entourage, that whole episode about the valley, when drama was like basically made it like as if they were going to hike Everest, you know, by going to the valley, and that they needed like so much water and like ice and like to keep themselves cool. And I was like, shut up. And I haven't even lived in the valley for 10 years now, and I still like love the valley and get upset when people talk trash about it.
And that episode was going to Northridge, like where Dave and Buster's was last week on
Like,
here.
where you
and
are.
We're like, I live. It was very personal.
You do live Deep Valley though too. I never lived above Burbank Boulevard. So
Oh, I'm a product of the absolute suburbs, the AYSO, soccer mom, like Real Valley, like malls.
Yeah.
Like not, yeah.
Yeah, you were west of the 405, north of Van Owen, like you're like there. Yeah. I just
Magnet
always
schools, soccer practice.
I always lived along Ventura Boulevard somehow. So
yeah.
Anywho, the people who live in LA know, and the people who like hearing about the inside, you enjoy that part.
Yeah.
It's the valley
right now
version.
We kind of sound like that.
Well, it's the valley version of Clueless. Like, you know, you don't live below Sunset or Mulholland, all that stuff.
I guess we should get in this episode of Valley then, which doesn't take place in the Valley at all.
Mm-mm.
We're back in Santa Barbara for part 2.
And they're gonna finally go to a winery.
Yeah, that morning, the opening shot of Jesse pouring his, and also Kristen, they were all pouring morning champagne. It stressed me out. I've done it. I'm very capable of it. I just would not be fit for TV. It would be like just censored throughout the rest of the episode. So I know what the fallout is like. And I was just like, it was making me anxious just watching it.
It's like, well, I find the funny thing is like, granted, he drank apparently, I mean, I couldn't tell if they were joking or kind of being serious, that he basically drank a bottle of champagne before they even left to go wine tasting. And the funny thing is that he was telling everybody, or at least I forget, like in the confessional, he's like telling you what maturity looks like. But then at the same time, when he like tells people what maturity looks like, when he acts immature by his own definition, it's actually your fault, because you triggered him to act immature. And that was like this whole episode with Jesse. Like, I was like, oh my God, I can't with you, man. Like, no.
is I've been a Jesse defender a lot, not defender. Well, I find him more entertaining than Michelle as an audience
Right.
member.
I would agree with that, though,
Yeah.
too. Like, we enjoy. This is about toxicity. Bravo is.
Yeah. He makes good TV, but where he was trying to show off how sophisticated he is, that is where he lost me.
You know,
He's
well, I found it very interesting watching the after show.
mhm.
And Michelle said that, because let's not forget, they worked for Hilton and Highland.
I was gonna call it my Hilton and I.
Yes,
My Rick and Kathy.
You're Rick and Kathy. So they worked for Hilton and Highland, Michelle and Jesse did. And so
Mhm.
then in the after show, Michelle, when talking about like kind of all the excesses of Jesse, but also like kind of the reasons that she fell in love with him too, like
Mhm.
all the fun, but yet very superficial, like almost grandiose, narcissistic type of things. She said that Kathy Hilton told her that some people don't know how to handle success. And I think like that was already happening before this show started to Jesse, because that's
Mhm.
I think Kathy meant that in regards to like, well, it depends on when she said it, but in regards to both their money, because obviously he spent all their money in
Yeah.
lavish ways before this show even came about. And now, I mean, look at it being on the stripper pole. It was daytime. If it had been nighttime and they were like in San Diego on a party bus, I might have been like, okay, guys on a stripper pole, whatever. It was the morning.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It was stressing me out. Yeah. And in the after show hearing too about like the $15,000 bottles of wine, that's the kind of that we all know I like flash and that kind of stuff annoys me.
Yeah.
I don't like someone I'd find it funny if Brittany and Brittany from Kentucky was drinking a $15,000 bottle of wine, but some guy with the starch shirt and the sweater and the watch and the loafers, it's trying too hard. I'm like, that doesn't read as sophisticated to me. It reads as pretentious.
Jesse doesn't know who he is. This man is 40
Yeah.
something years old and he does not have an identity.
He's
So,
playing a character. Yeah.
exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was acting like so stupid. I did find it interesting though, because that if you know, you know, but if you go to Santa Barbara, there's like great wine and just north of Santa Barbara, but you still have to drive at the minimum 45 minutes north of Santa
Mhm.
Barbara to start, but it's really like an hour or so. So for them to stop, that was a big chunk of their day to go however far they went and then have to stop and turn around and come back and then go.
Yeah, editing wrapped it up really nicely
Mhm.
to the point that they were pretending they were going to call Ubers, but when they somehow magically arrived, this fleet, those weren't Ubers. That was a fleet of livery Tahoes. Like
Mhm.
you order the service. Production took care of that. I mean, they wrapped it up because honestly, that would have ruined my day. That would have probably went on for hours.
Mhm.
We just didn't see it all.
Yeah, exactly.
Ugh.
Exactly.
I do have to say one thing. It was fun in that scene with that sequence with Jesse kind of falling all over her and giving lap dances, where Kristen Doute, sweet angel, self-referenced. Instead of Jesse, it's like 10 a.m. and Jesse's already acting like a 29-year-old Kristen Doute.
It was so good. And I love that also, sorry, but we got to see, she said 29-year-old Kristen Doute in Cabo. Like,
Mhm.
and we got to see naked Kristen in Cabo. Like, I was like, I forgot about that. It was so great. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
And the sad part too, and I was like, 29 wasn't that? Oh my God, that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
No.
Fucking time keeps on marching on, and eventually you realize it's marching across your face.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh my
If
goodness.
she's not 29 anymore, how old does that make me? No.
57.
Yeah. What else was fun
Well,
there? And that,
I thought it was funny when they were at that winery, which is so funny because I was like, I might have been there, and I was like, no, most wineries in the Santa Barbara region have some type of pond. I don't know, it's a thing. Like they all have a fucking pond with some weeping willows. They do now. It's crazy. They all do. But Jesse, they were talking about Monets or something like that, and Luke question was kind of like, what do you mean Monet? And he was like, the painting or whatever, and he was like, Jesse called Luke uncultured, and Luke was like, and you're not manly. I was like,
yeah.
oh, like usually I wouldn't encourage that type of like, let's not decide what's manly or not. But I was like, no, just Jesse had it coming. That was an asshole thing to call Luke uncultured just because he didn't hear you properly.
Yeah. And I will give Luke credit because the other thing when the van broke down,
Oh yeah.
no other guy went over to check it out.
No.
I would have been like Jesse. I would have been like, la, 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 someone else fix this. I give Luke credit.
Mm-hmm. Luke wanted to know what was going on there, and I was like, "You go for it, man."
And he handled the situation. He told the driver what to do and how we're going to fix this. I wouldn't know what a coolant leak is.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what AAA is for. Or the camera crew.
Exacto mundo. Oh my gosh. Well, and Danny arrived and he played catch up pretty quickly. He was
Yeah.
There is a part of me that goes, was that editing? Because, I can, as an editor, I can make it look like you had, 15 drinks when you're just taking sips of like 3. But so I don't know. I'll give him a little bit on that. Like, I was like, I don't know how many you've had, but you appear to be drunk, though.
I mean, I guess we'll get into that in a little bit because that becomes an issue with his drinking, which I was like, well, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, let him have fun.
Yeah.
What's a little midday blackout when you're
I just don't think I've done that. I always think when I think of day drinking, I think it was like my sophomore year, maybe junior year of college, and it was homecoming, and homecoming was just a day drinking like fest, especially at USC. But like, and I just remember being so drunk, and then you do a puke and rally, and then, but then at the same time, still by 10 o'clock, I was like, I can't do this. I need to go home. Like I partied a bit as much as I could. And then I was like, I can't.
I used to call the puke and rally an oil change.
Oh, I'd like
disappear
that.
for a few minutes and then I'd be back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I've done it a lot. I can't anymore.
I mean, look, I've done a lot of puke and rallies, but usually they're at night. So it's like I don't have to keep going on for like 8 more hours. Like I'm okay for a puke and rally, and then like you last like 2 more hours. Okay, fine. But
the worst for me with the day drinking is everything is amazing until the sun goes down, and it's literally like sundowners, like kind of a dementia, and suddenly the last thing you remember, it was like 1 p.m. Where did the day go? Where is everyone? Why is it dark?
Right.
And you're just
no.
I give Jesse credit for that. He does, as silly as he is, I would be much worse. You'd find me in the pond. You'd find me like, it wouldn't work.
Well, I mean, I don't.
He must have a tolerance, which
must have a tolerance, or maybe has some help. Just saying, we don't know. Yeah. But look, I mean, he then wanted to have another like drunk conversation with Michelle on camera at that winery, and the way I guess the way it's going so far this season is that I am not a Michelle fan, but I'm a Michelle apologist. Like in that, and then I recognize a lot of the things that Jesse is doing to Michelle. I recognize her reactions, like, that I've gone through that because I've
Mhm.
been with a partner who treated me similarly to Jesse. Not exactly, but,
Mhm.
like, there's some similar stuff. Like, the way he's, like, starting to have a conversation with her, but then he questions her in a very condescending way. It's not like, "Let's have
Mhm.
the conversation about this." Like, he throws an insult in the form of a question at her right off the bat, and that'll put somebody on the defense. But then it's like, "Well, why are you getting defensive? I just wanna talk to you." You know? And he does this thing, it seems a lot. I wouldn't be surprised, like, they call it dog whistle. It's a dog whistle, but there can be relationship dog whistles too, where there might have been things that have happened and, like, were brought up in their relationship a bunch,
Mhm.
where he now, like, he'll make it what seems to be to us an innocuous comment, but when Michelle gets very upset, it's probably because it's like, well, maybe it always I don't know, like, I don't know what all the I can't necessarily give an example off the top of my head, but I feel like there's some certain things she gets upset about that I'm like, I feel like that's something he probably brought up a bunch in their relationship, and it's like,
He knows it triggers her. He's
yeah.
trying to get a reaction. Yeah. I can I now that I'm, like, less enamored or amused by Jessie, and what, again, pieced it together for me is, like, what she says here, "You spent all our money."
Mhm.
And now I'm thinking about those $15,000 bottles of wine, and I'm thinking about the Oracle of Bel Air, Kathy, warning her. And I can see there's a lot of, and I'm thinking, I pointed out in the recent episodes, the cars. He had this big
Mhm.
Porsche. Now it's a big Beamer. It's all fronting. It's all fronting. And so,
I mean, have you seen pictures of him from before the show, like the way he used to look and everything? He's I'm surprised he doesn't have a new set of teeth. His teeth are not bad, but he's done a
mhm,
complete glow up. He's like
okay.
this preppy mister is not who he was even 5 years ago. Like,
Okay.
he's remade his image. He looks different. And this
Hmm.
isn't just, like, more of a maturity thing, like, "Oh, I'm now in my 40s," and stuff like that. I mean, this is a different person here that we're
Yeah.
looking at, that he's trying to present to everybody, and that's why I say I'm surprised that he didn't get new teeth as well. So, but I'm not criticizing his teeth, though, because I got crooked teeth as well, but
I'm still waiting on Kathy to buy me. No, I'm joking. Like, I'm waiting for one of those. No, but what was I gonna say? Yeah, no, I've only seen his modeling, from his like earlier days, like when he was
Mhm,
in his 20s, and
mhm.
then now. So I didn't. So this whole, even this style of wardrobe, which so it absolutely is contrived.
It is.
Yeah, it's all
It
an
is.
affectation. That's what. Yeah.
Yeah. This he's presenting who he wants people to, and so that's why, like, when last week when I said that, you know, he weaponizes his child against the audience and against Michelle stuff. Granted, I think Michelle uses Isabella as well. So I'm not like, I don't think the two are mutually exclusive. But, like, there's just a lot of things, like, I think that's what is also makes her so upset, is she's like, some of you guys know, like, you guys don't know, like, the public hasn't seen him over the last decade change like everybody's seen Jax Taylor.
Hmm.
Everybody's seen Jax
Yeah.
Taylor's 3 nose jobs. Everybody's seen Jax Taylor's do this, like, they've seen Jax Taylor. And Jax has, in a lot of ways, stayed the same, but you haven't seen this, like, manipulative person
Hmm.
change. And, like, that's also what she was talking about in the after show, is that she fell in love with him because they were kind of home buddies. He would cook for her, and he had, like, I actually kind of saw this, like, love for him in her eyes when she was talking about it, and it was, like, really sweet and
Hmm.
sad at the same time. And I just go, but then it's like it all changed after they had a child, and she was like, and then he was,
Yeah.
like, out all the time, and it's just, yeah, anyway, I think I find it interesting.
I did feel in this segment that we kind of indirectly got a shout out here on PCP, by the way. it's where Janet and Zach finally have a nice a thawing of the ice, and they joke about his toupee.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "Oh, is she the one who's been? That's why the rumors keep going and going. Um, we were
Honestly,
the ones who started the rumor."
I've
He's
been
even
waiting for them to flash up of like a
our
graphic
post.
of our tweet. Like, come on, put it up. Put it
He's
up.
even acknowledged our post. You could go to our Instagram. He commented. Like, I mean, he knows.
Come on, Bravo,
was
you
us.
cowards. Alex Baskin, put it up. Come on. Even on the after show, they wouldn't do it. Come on.
I know. Who did we piss off? I mean,
Not enough people.
I've never been accused of having a toupee, so no.
Nope.
Yeah, that was another thing too, because I was like, they're talking about like when they're discussing it, it's like he has such bad hair. I'm like, do you know how thick and luxurious that your hair has to be mistaken for a toupee?
Yeah. No, I bet Benji's like, no, that's some great hair, man.
I know. I was like, he could get it. Move over Kyle Richards. He's gonna get a Pantene commercial out of this.
Hell yeah. Oh my
He's been
goodness.
using Beyonce's
Eh,
Secret.
Maybe.
Yeah, the hair drop. Ugh.
But also, when Jesse and Michelle were having their talk, he calls her a hooker outright. Like he uses the word hooker, like in this drunkenness, which obviously then she yells at him. But then he says that but he didn't believe that rumor. He's like, I didn't believe that rumor that she'd done. I was like, oh really? Then why are you going around spreading it? Like you made it up. You made it up and like that's what it is. And then you went around spreading it. Like stop. Like you're a child. You're a child. You're a child.
He was kind of hedging his bets there by explaining why it's technically not slander. Like he was aware of what he had done.
Right? Oh, I fucking hate that guy so much. Dude.
Those poor winery owners, by the way, at the end of this, they are so uncomfortable. They are so out of their element with this crowd, and they've just witnessed absolute chaos. And they're just like, "Thank you for coming."
No. They did not witness absolute chaos. The absolute chaos that has ever happened at a winery was on Potomac when Monique grabbed Candace and like slammed her head down on the table. That was a winery craziness that will never be forgotten in Bravo history.
Yeah.
Like hang it in the Louvre. Like I'm not condoning violence, but that is seared in my brain. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
We'll never see it. We should never ever see anything like that ever again. The only thing that Jesse did right during this episode was to hire a private chef for dinner and make this a real housewives house trip.
Yeah. He did deliver an amazing estate, a housewives worthy estate, and he thought through, or production, but whatever, he thought through the transportation and all that. No, he's a good host. Kristen said, I think those two have it when she said Jesse's a complicated person. Like, what did she say? On one hand, he just called his wife a hooker while he's setting up a catered dinner for us. Like, yes. On one hand, he's an absolute piece of garbage. On the other, he's a perfect gentleman.
Kristen has become our Greek chorus because she understands how the sausage is made. Like, she's the one person on this show who's like, I know how this goes. So, yes.
Yeah. I think she has, I don't know if it's and we don't know, it plays out in the season. I do feel like she has a special little side bond with Jesse.
Yeah.
Like, I think just you could see the way they interact. She doesn't seem to be that friendly with Michelle in my
Well, I mean, they had that falling out. They had a friendship falling out. So, and like I said last week, I think Jesse's manipulating Kristen to have on his side. And, I don't think I don't blame Michelle for then not wanting to be close to Kristen again if, she's cozying up to her ex, no
Mhm.
matter what. Like, did maybe Michelle miss her window to repair things with Kristen? Maybe,
Mhm.
so maybe she doesn't want to. I don't know. That's up to them. I don't, to be honest, I actually don't really care.
Yeah.
Unless it becomes
The
dramatic for our television viewing pleasure, I don't give a shit.
the seed in this segment, we get two things here because they're back at the house post winery. We have Jesse, dinner, and then we have two things. First off, Janet. Oh my god. Oh my god. Janet saw Danny
Oh,
taking a swig of tequila in the pantry.
God.
The seed has been planted. Oh my god.
She's such a little pot
I'm
stirrer.
afraid of Janet. I can't tell if I hate her, well, on camera, but then I'm like, but God, what if actually she'd be the one I'd get along with the most behind the scenes? I know there's something about her.
Can you
Maybe it's the
get out of my head? Because I was just watching, like, actually, when I was watching the after show before we were recording, I was like, I really wonder though. I was like, would I end up being like the Janet on a show? Like if I was put on this show, because there's some things I probably would go I'd be like, Danny's taking swigs of tequila in the whatchamacallit. I'd be like, that's weird. And then people would be like, oh, what? And I'd be like, yeah, he's doing this. And then that would become a thing. I'd be like, I didn't mean
Mhm.
for it to become a thing. I just was like, hey, I think your binge drinking husband
The
is binge drinking too much secretly.
So we were saying on the other episode how you heard that Janet, she basically made it her life's mission to get in with Vanderpump Rules, and
Mhm.
eventually she's been preparing for this. And then I heard Andy Cohen had on his radio show Nicole the Pussycat Dolls,
Yeah.
Nicole Scherzinger, and she revealed that Zach was her assistant for many years,
Oh, no
and she
way.
loved him. It was like he was like friends with her sister, something like that, like a
Mm.
Kentucky, and it was the whole thing. And she was saying all he ever talked about was wanting to be a reality star. He loved reality TV. He wanted to be a reality star. And in a good way, she's happy for him. But I was like, Janet and Zach, and this isn't a good way now, I feel. They are enjoying being on reality TV more than anyone on this cast. You see the smiles on the face when they're being evil. They know what they're doing. They're so
Mhm.
excited.
Mhm.
No wonder they butt heads, but I think he's kind of like the Reza of the group to me. And then I don't know
Yeah.
who she would be. But the point is, I think they will end up being friends.
Yeah. I
They
think they're
they
just
have
those
this
there's those 2 that one season they'll be on, another season they'll be off. They'll probably
Yeah,
always
yeah,
do
that's what
that.
I'm thinking, kinda like Reza and Gigi or Reza
Mhm.
and
And
MJ, like,
MJ.
no. Yeah, there's a bond. They both love it. You can see it in their eyes when they're causing trouble. They almost like
Oh my gosh, man.
and then what was the other thing? Oh, of course, of course. Part 2 of the Jesse and Michelle talk.
I couldn't believe he wanted to talk more. I was like,
Yeah. I was like, is he blacked out? Like, why is he why is he signing up for
I
that?
know. It made it work. Well, he also pulled that other thing that like a bunch of like narcissists do. Cause like, look, he's not the only narcissist. Jax is a narcissist. He's a narcissist, but he does this like he full on does it. That Darvo thing. The uh, oh, why did I just forget how the acronym works?
You
Reverse.
taught me the name a
I
long
did.
time ago.
I did.
Is it like deflect? Is it deflect? Here, wait, I'm Googling.
I'm
Darvo meaning
good.
deny,
Deny.
attack, reverse victim, and
Mhm.
offender.
Yeah. And that's what he does. He'll like deny something, he'll attack the person, he'll reverse. He loves to make himself the victim of it because all of a sudden
Mhm.
it's she cheated on me for 2.5 years. Will you admit that you kissed somebody? And she goes, yeah, I admitted I kissed somebody. And he's like, yeah, oh my God. And she's
Mhm.
like, yes. I mean, she's taken a lot of power away from him by admitting things, by going, fine, I just admit it. Fine,
Mhm.
whatever. But then he tries to make himself be the victim for it. But just like Janet said, if I was your wife, I would have cheated on you too. Because like, when she was like, he didn't touch me, like I said last week, like being like not being touched, not being told you're pretty. Oh, and then in the after show, they were like, there are texts in the group chat, in the guys chat, where when Michelle was pregnant, he called her fat. I'm like, well then,
Yeah,
dude.
no, he's I'm getting this episode gave me a more complete picture of Jesse. We're
Mm-hmm.
on the scale of like I try to figure out who I'd be friends with in real life. I don't mean aspiring to. I just you try to find relatability.
Yeah.
I did not relate to Jesse anymore.
Yeah.
Whereas and sadly I'm like, am I Janet?
I
Am I
know.
Janet Caperna?
Oh no.
Oh no,
Well,
what did I just spill?
well, Zach had him pegged. I thought it was interesting that like really Zach and Luke and Jasmine and who else was down there? Was it Melissa too? Like they all could hear that conversation happening up on the balcony. Like they could really hear it. And Zach had him pegged and was just like, and not in a sexual way, pegging. He said, that he doesn't, and fucking hey, Stacy, get your brain together. He's so mad. The only way he's really a victim is that he's so mad. Oh my God, I cannot get my words together. He just wants to control her. He's not
Mhm.
sad because somebody was like, he's just sad that this is ending. And Zach was like, no, he's mad. He's mad that she left him and he's mad that he can't control her anymore. And this is a way of trying to control her.
Yeah, yeah. I think he was listening with Jasmine and Melissa,
And Luke was
right?
there
And
too. Yeah.
yeah, and I think maybe Jasmine was like, "Look at him! Look at the longing in his eyes! Like he wants her back." And Zach was like, "No,
No.
he's a Jax Taylor narcissist. He's just trying to lure her back in to validate his own power. He doesn't care about her."
Mm-hmm. Yep. That was it. Oh, he's so
Michelle and
irritating.
Jasmine, by the way, I enjoy them because they were shushing people. They were the audience. They wanted to hear. They told like Zach, "Shut up, we need more." Like, yeah,
Well, no, Jasmine started to speak, and I think Militia was like, shh. Stop.
yeah.
It's like, oh my gosh. But yeah, it definitely was like, there was something else there. Anyway, it doesn't really matter because, yeah, I just was.
Oh, you know what the other thing was, and this was like the parent battle. This is why I feel bad for. I do what you had said earlier. Isabella, Jesse, and Michelle's daughter comes up again, and it's all about who's um who's being inappropriate and letting Isabella know their partners or their dates, whatever. And I'm like, yeah, I thought when you had said that earlier, I'm like, she is what's it, ammo, monkey in the middle. I mean, they're both
Mm-hmm.
using the daughter against each other,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
which is not great. So
No.
I mean, I don't have kids to comment on them to parent, but no, I see how they both like weaponize this toddler against each other. And I mean, it could go both ways where there's one where it's like, if your parents have a lot of money in their divorce, you could play them against each other, the hatred for better gifts, better cars, better
Mm-hmm.
whatever. But she might end up like emotionally.
She will end up emotional.
Yeah.
She might learn how to manipulate people better. I don't know. But like, yeah, it's definitely, I mean, yeah, I'm not going to tell somebody how to parent their child when I don't
Yeah,
have kids,
yeah. I'm
but
just like I do see how they both kind of it's like, yeah.
well,
I have a
yeah.
feeling for her 5th birthday is gonna surprise her with an inappropriate gift like a Birkin. Look what daddy got you.
Or like a big trip somewhere with just him and his girlfriend and
To
her, something
Disney
like that.
World or something,
Yeah.
yeah.
But at the same time, like, I mean, there's, you know, Michelle's living with her boyfriend, Aaron. And
Mhm.
so then it's very messy. It's very, very messy. And I'm just like,
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
kids have no place on this show, really.
Absolutely not. This is not children's programming. This is not PBS. No.
Yeah. This is
Mm-mm.
not Danny Booko's for. I still think it might be iCarly or
It
Wizards of
was
Waverly, but
it was iCarly. Yeah. iCarly and
yeah.
Hannah Montana and one other, but it was Disney. It was Disney because when
Mhm.
I had to
Okay.
find a picture of him from those shows, I figured it out. I was like, oh, okay.
But that becomes a scandal because Danny, God forbid, is napping off the wine, napping off the alcohol.
God damn, Danny.
And I will just say the way they made this more of a borderline intervention than Jax Taylor. I mean, it was too much for me. I was like,
I definitely thought it was overblown. I will say I understood a little bit with Brittany kind of getting upset about but I saw Nia definitely putting on her pageant face and like pageant
mhm,
answers of being like, she couldn't say, well, he just drank too much on top of being
yeah,
tired and on top. She was unwilling to say that he drank too much until she was really pushed to do that at the very end. She was unwilling to say that. And I think it's probably something that's just been building for some of the cast members and especially Brittany. So I kind of get I kind of get where Brittany's talking about it, but I also want to go, well, Brittany, you were hiding stuff for years too. And
yes,
just because you are finally kind of out of the closet of whatever's going on in your marriage doesn't mean that other people are ready to do that, and you cannot force them, just like nobody could force you and Jax or you to like reveal what was happening with your relationship until you were ready to. So
right. I mean, that's where the hypocrisy for me came from. It's
yeah.
like Brittany, I understand her frustration because her
Yeah.
emotions at this point in life are raw. Her husband is only a few days into rehab, so I get why maybe she didn't react full logic, but I was like, she for years covered up Jax's behavior and
Hmm.
Jax's issues. So, and made excuses of like, oh, Jax, say you're sorry. Like,
Hmm. Well, and also, okay, when they did the whole like hall pass game, which was fun. I thought I was like, Kristen came out with a good game. I was like, how can this make
mhm.
people pissed off? I mean, it really didn't make people pissed off, but Nia gave a very pageant answer. Like, we don't have hall passes because we live in LA. We know some of these. Fuck off. Everybody was like, fuck off. We all live in LA. We know like celebrities. Like, come on. Like, shut up.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, some of them, yeah. Sheena had some answers on the after show.
Yeah.
What
Oh
was
my
that?
God.
Like, it's like, when is she with Hannah where's she? She was dropping some A-list names there. I was like,
What was this party at Miley Cyrus's house that apparently Janet pooped at the house and Sheena and Miley became best friends? Like,
yeah.
I'm like,
I was like, wait, when, what? Maybe we need to look for some like Google image or go there.
I'll let you do that. I don't have time for
Yeah.
that. No.
So I don't know. It's funny too, though, seeing Sheena in the after show because you're like, why are you there? We still haven't like, we've had 1 3-second phone conversation with her so far.
I thought we would have seen like Sheena and Lala by episode 5 in the
Mhm.
show, but we have not yet.
Yeah.
So we saw Schwartz briefly, right? Or am I thinking of
Yeah.
Summer House? Yeah, we saw him briefly, right?
No. I think no, did we?
I don't
No,
know.
did Schwartz stop by when Jax was getting ready to leave? They had like a cycle of
I think
people
so.
checking in on him.
You know what? Somebody correct us in the comments on YouTube
Yeah.
if we got it wrong. So let us know. But Brittany, I really
But
wish Brittany would like block Jax because he's like,
yeah.
I don't disagree with like Zach was like, "Give me your phone," and she's like, "No," and I was like, "No, you need to be de-jaxed. Like he's
Mhm.
in detox, you need de-jax." Like,
I do think with her too, like, 'cause who said it? Who said it? "Give me 2 shakes of a lamb's tail." Was it Zach who said in the beginning of the episode that she's Brittany's trained and emotionally abused? She's addicted to this cycle.
mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
And that's what happens, you know? And she's also like, it's after a decade of like being told that she's not worthy of anything. Like she admits
Mhm.
that like with the whole Julian thing, like he was just nice to her. Like, yeah, he wasn't like the greatest guy, and like, but she wasn't gonna like, marry him or anything.
Mhm.
Like, but like he just treated her nicely for a while, for
Mhm.
the first time in like so long. But that's also that's the scary thing though too for both Brittany and, to be honest with you, for Michelle, because I still don't trust Aaron. I don't know. He could turn out to be a Luke. We're not sure. And what I mean by a Luke is that we have changed our opinion of Luke. We think more
Mhm.
highly of him. But when you've been in really bad relationships and then you get out, you just want to be treated nicely. But watch out, because you might get in a relationship with a love bomber, like somebody who is just as bad and you can't see because you've been so hurt by somebody else in the past.
Yeah.
So,
They do start making the Stanny thing. It got out of hand for me. I mean, you had Janet saying she felt like she had violated the trust of their marriage, but what is it? She saw him in they're all coming up with these reasons why him, at a table full of everyone who's been drinking all day, why him drinking.
mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Janet felt she was keeping a secret from his marriage. Liar. She wanted to stir the pot. Who else was there? What were some of the other people? We had Brittany, who was
Mm-hmm.
upset because a few extra shots of tequila was Jax Taylor's smallest problem.
Yeah.
Let's be
Yeah.
for her for that. Who else was there? I know Melissa and Jasmine. I know they did have
Mm-hmm.
you got a little handsy with them, so that I felt at least that was a little more valid, but they were
Mm-hmm.
clearly trying to. I felt like we talk about in Beverly Hills and a lot of Bravo shows, they build you up to take you down.
Mm-hmm.
Danny and Mia are so perfect in comparison to the others. This was their opportunity to knock them off their pedestal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I think that, well, I agreed with Kristen though too, is that like both Jasmine and Brittany were kind of like talking about it a lot, and Nia had already left the table, and Danny obviously wasn't there, and Kristen was like, "You should be saying this to their face. Like, why are you
Hmm.
why are you getting so upset about it now?" And I'm like, I think they're partially processing it and venting, yet at the same time, yeah, like just say it to her, you know?
Yeah, maybe they had caught on to something. Like maybe they felt in the moment they realized they had some kind of story or conflicts that they could push onto the show. And
Yeah.
as they were drinking at dinner, it just got
Mhm.
your because I was just like, it wasn't landing for me how this nap.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because like I even think I immediately saw like, yeah, I saw that he was like a little drunk, but then I was thinking back to like my last relationship. Oh my god, which was way too long ago. But I remember like Thanksgiving. I used to, at the time I was working a lot of hours, both as a spin instructor and as a server. And so I worked like 6 days a week. And the only day and on that Thanksgiving, I taught a spin class on Thanksgiving morning. And then I drove all the way down to the South Bay to my boyfriend's friend's house for Thanksgiving. I was exhausted. Like I was always exhausted. I was so tired. I was always driving down from West Hollywood to the South Bay, which can take an hour. Oh my God. And he would never come up to my place. And he got mad because it was like we'd already had like lunch and everything like that. Like it was just hanging out afterwards. And I was like, I asked his friends, I was like, can I go upstairs and take like an hour nap? I was like, I'm just super tired and like, yeah, but just been working. They were like, sure. I hadn't even been drinking that much. He got so mad at me that I took a nap. And I was like, I'm so tired.
Yeah.
Like, so I kind of felt that way for Danny. I was like, I get it. I get it. Like, if you've been like driving and like there's certain, like, obviously I call Danny Darko, but, and I think he's got his own issues, but I understood drinking and then wanting
Yeah.
that nap.
Yeah. They were all like reaching to make it worse and like deeper than what it is. And I'm like, again, the one making the biggest deal out of it is the one constantly texting her husband who's in rehab for coke, for drinking, for I don't know what abuse. I mean, let the little guy take his nap. No.
Leave the leprechaun alone.
That's another thing. I mean, it's hard to gauge. It's hard for me to gauge height. I have seen Jax in person once. He's a taller guy. He's a taller guy. He's not like not like
I would say he's at
NBA.
least 6 feet tall.
Yeah. I would say maybe 6'1", maybe 6'2", tops. But I mean, he's a good height.
Yeah.
And so I know that. He kind of looks like how tall I would have thought he was from the show. But I'm a bad gauge with height. And I was looking at Jesse Lally and
He's short.
Yeah. And Danny. I was like, yeah, I can't.
I would say Jesse Lawley's probably 5'10", so he's probably our height. And then I think that Danny is probably 5'7".
Jesse Lawley to me looks like 5. So it's hard to gauge until you see him next to things.
The only reason I'll say that he's 5'10" is because he was a model. And in the time where pre like Instagram models, so like he would need to, for male models don't actually need to be that tall. Ideally, they're in between like 5'10" and 6 feet tall. So I would say he's probably 5'10".
Okay. He also may give a little Napoleonic energy with the starched collars and cufflinks and $15,000.
He has kind of like a short neck, like his build. Like his build is not necessarily like a long, lean build at all. So, yeah.
But that's where I got into the height. I was like, I don't know, maybe alcohol hits Danny a little harder because I don't think he's like a tall guy. So you know.
Yeah.
But Zach loved every moment of it.
Zach stirred the pot though too.
And he admitted why he did it. In the process, he says, well, since Brittany ran to Janet with what I was saying behind her back.
Revenge.
Good for him.
Zachary's revenge.
That's what I mean. Him and Janet love doing this stuff. And it's good. It's good. You need those on a cast. But yeah, so he went and told Nia since Brittany wasn't loyal to him when he was doing the same thing.
Yup.
Yeah.
And now we've got to be continued, which I think is bullshit. Just give us this fight is not worth it to be continued. Like you should just give us stuff for the next one.
I can't imagine on a local trip. This is a local trip, a local cast trip, like an hour and a half away, 2 hours away. Like when Beverly Hills goes down to San Diego or something. This is not a trip to Europe that should eat up like a fourth of the season. 3 episodes. No. Yeah.
Please no. They better be going back to LA at least halfway through or 15 minutes into the next episode.
Yeah. Because I was surprised that this continued, but yeah.
Well, I think that's it. I'm trying to think. Is there anything else even from the after show? Oh, Jax being bipolar. That was funny.
Oh yeah. And then we now know he's been diagnosed before. I mean, it's telling into any mention of it in this episode because you have some of them saying he's been diagnosed with this before. It's not new. He just doesn't do anything about it. And then in the beginning when he tells Brittany about it and Zach is like, are you sure he was really diagnosed, or is he just coming up with new excuses? Nothing of yeah, you just can't trust him. Is it
Mhm.
real? If it is real, is he going to do anything about it? Like even Danny acknowledged the
Mhm.
picture perfect couple. Danny said in the after show, he had like psychiatric issues about 14 years ago, emotional issues, and he took meds for it
Mhm.
and it helped him.
Mhm.
And he worried Jax won't take the meds.
Well, because
So
Jax didn't. He was like, "Oh," and then I found out Jax didn't take medication. I was like, well, then we need to walk this back." Like, and then
yeah,
Jax is like, "Well, no, I didn't get it filled one time, but I got it filled the next time, and I was on it for 2 weeks, and then I was like, this isn't working, honey bunny.
yeah.
You're a moron because it takes longer than 2 weeks for it to start working. Like, but
Yeah.
but you don't want that because you are
And also, if you're taking it with alcohol and
and
other
drugs.
substances, yeah, it's not going to have the same effect. It's not going to work to its full capacity or potential. So,
Right. Oh my God.
uh,
That man, whatever. I think he's
well,
just a
you know how you could,
diagnosed asshole. So,
you could help us reach our full potential. It's really simple. And unlike Jax's Coke problem in rehab, it doesn't cost you a thing. All you have to do is click follow and subscribe. That's right. You can subscribe to us on YouTube. You can subscribe to us wherever you're listening to your podcast. We just drop in. You don't have to think about us. We'll be waiting there in the morning for you, like Jesse's bottle of champagne.
mhm.
Of course, also on social media, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Blue Sky, MySpace, Live.
Friendster,
Yeah.
Tumblr.
And if any of you got, we should set up a PCP like Venmo or something, wherever these mysterious people are sending Jesse and Michelle
Yeah.
cash.
Look, if you want to Venmo us cash, we're fine with that. Just
Yeah.
we're good.
I
Please.
mean, always welcome, but you absolutely don't need to. The most important thing is click subscribe and share with your drug dealers or your psychiatrists or whoever. We don't judge.
Drug dealers love us.
Yeah.
That
And
sounded really bad.
unfortunately, I was thinking, unfortunately, there have been times that I love them. So, on
Oh, okay. We should
that
probably go now.
note, peace.